Against the background of Mount Fuji, one of Japan's most sacred mountains, we heard good news from the Paralympics as cyclists Katie Dunleavy and Eve McChrystal won gold. It is a story of brimming hope, made all the more remarkable by virtue of Katie's visual impairment. A climber called Laurie Erickson once remarked on visiting Mount Fuji, but seeing its beauty in person made the breath catch in my throat. In 2005, when Bruce Springsteen was inducting U2 into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he described with the following words his vision. A great rock band searches for the same kind of combustible force that fueled the expansion of the universe at the Big Bang. You want the earth to shake and spit fire. You want the sky to split apart and for God to pour out. Springsteen then intriguingly added, it's embarrassing to want so much and to expect so much from music, except sometimes it happens. Springsteen speaks of the earth spitting fire. Mount Fuji opens up awe and transcendence. Jesus touched the deaf man's ears and then his tongue with spittle. Jesus sighed, looked towards heaven and said to the man, be opened. Spittle was considered a healing agent in the ancient world. As Mount Fuji opens awe and transcendence, Jesus spits and God pours out, opening hearing and speech. The witnesses were filled with admiration. Just like Springsteen being embarrassed by expecting too much from music, perhaps the deaf man and his friends felt similarly in their expectations from Jesus. But as Springsteen says, except sometimes it happens. The deaf and dumb man could now hear and speak. The playwright Mark Meadoff wrote the script for Children of a Lesser God, where a deaf character is central to an engaging story. Meadoff was fond of saying, deafness isn't the opposite of hearing. It's a silence full of sound. The National Charity for Deafness and Hearing Loss in Ireland is called Chime. Their vision is a society with no limits or barriers for anyone impacted by deafness or hearing loss. Approximately 200 children in Ireland are diagnosed each year with hearing loss, with the majority diagnosed within a few months of birth. The deaf community has approximately 5,000 members whose primary language is Irish Sign Language. The HSE estimates that 8% of all adults, approximately 300,000 people, have a moderate or greater hearing loss and require audiological support. Many teachers do not have the required fluency in Irish Sign Language to give equal access for deaf students to the school curriculum. This is true even in deaf schools and units for deaf children. Ireland has a very slow uptake of hearing aids and does not have a universal health approach to hearing loss as is recommended by the World Health Organization. Ireland prescribes hearing aids at less than half the rate of the United Kingdom. The national HAC audiology waiting list is now over 20,000 and 5 times greater than it was 7 years ago in 2014. Chime is aware of many instances involving deaf prisoners where medical consultations and access to educational services in prison settings have not been facilitated with Irish Sign Language interpreters. Mark Twain poignantly wrote that kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus is concerned about people and restores them to health, wholeness, life within the community, and a sense of their own identity and worth, and a future that is filled with hope. Hearing loss is often an invisible disability, yet it is most welcome that COVID-19 updates from government and the HSE are now broadcast with Irish Sign Language interpretation on screen. It is also positive that an increasing number of television programmes are being subtitled or signed, that special evenings are being held in cinemas where films are supported by text, and shops and other public buildings now have loop systems installed to help people with hearing aids to hear better. Noel Wright works with a group called Action on Hearing Loss that invests in biomedical research to find effective treatments and cures. On radio, he recently said, "Each time scientific research makes an advance in this field, I can feel a resonance with Jesus' miraculous healing." Katie Dunleavy has shown it can happen. Springsteen says that sometimes it happens. Jesus wants it to happen. Perhaps the question that all of this poses for us is this: what can we do to bring hope and healing to those we encounter in our lives? Amen.